Arsenal will play 20, 25 passes, 40 passes per play. It's very hard for Manchester to put 10 passes. You know,
not 10.
Which
you realize Onana has more passes than Bruno Fernandes.
Which now brings me to my point, right? When you compare now technically.
After match day 10 of the English Premier League, of course, only 2 teams are unbeaten. I'm talking about the North London club, that is Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur, with Spurs beating Crystal Palace 2-1 on Friday. I had given correct score of 2-0. Unfortunately, goal scored in the final minutes. Arsenal, of course, thrashing. They had a 5-0 victory over Sheffield United, while in the Manchester derby, we proved to be a blue, with Haaland scoring twice. We had Chelsea losing to Brentford. We saw Sanchez making a very huge and silly mistake. Liverpool, of course, continued a good run, winning 3-0 against Nottingham Forest. It wasn't that hard for them. And of course, here we are with match day 11 approaching. My name is Vincent.
My name is Brian, of course.
And welcome to the Liquid Sports Show. And today we have our guests.
My name is Samuel. Die-hard Arsenal fan.
Wow.
Nice to be here, guys.
In the house, you have an Arsenal fan.
You know,
So
it's always
it's already 2-1.
Man United, the greatest team in the world versus...
Wait. What are you calling great?
Bro, Manchester United has always been the greatest
What
club.
are you calling great? That's my question.
Football, Manchester United.
Football is great.
Manchester United.
But not
Manchester United.
Do you know that Old Trafford, the toughest stadium, you cannot win there? Even United cannot pick a point.
Bro, do not look at this season.
Yeah, we will look at
we've
next
been
season.
great. We've been great.
Yeah.
Even before.
Back in the days.
Yeah,
History
anyway.
It's TFC.
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
Team viewer, right. Weekend is approaching, and of course we have huge matches, including our feature match, the London derby, Tottenham taking on Chelsea. 2 good teams, of course. When it's a derby, it's a derby. But first of all, we want to talk to a friend here. I want to know, as an Arsenal fan, how is your experience so far under Mikel Arteta?
Mikel is a god. I will say that, like, Mikel is a god. Like, he's changed everything inside out for the club, our mentality, our belief, and that has transpired through to the fans, and that's why you see us here, the real Kiburi FC, right?
You're the real, so you're no longer the elephant.
Yeah, how come? We're the real Kiburi FC, because you have to have like real Kiburi and back it up with something, right? We are playing proper Kiburi football.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed you're playing some sexy football, regardless of whoever is gonna start for Arsenal.
Yep.
And that's
You're gonna get that entertainment.
You're gonna get that entertainment.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I want to know now, I will ask you 2 questions. Maybe if Werimo has a question, I'll also ask before we go to the real review we're doing today. And my first question is, we've seen Thomas Partey, one of the most outstanding players for the Gunners, always out injured. Now, I want to know your decision. Will come winter transfer, January, we will now clubs will be allowed to make their signings. Do you think it's time to let Thomas Partey go, because I think he's a liability for the club? And also, Arsenal, of course, they've never had a proper striker since Robin van Persie left. Do you think the current team, the current forwards in the name of Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus, and of course, if you play Kai Havertz as a false 9, is this a team to lead the Gunners to the trophy, or they need a proper striker in January? And if they do, who?
I'll say Partey is, however you look at it, like availability is the one key factor for any top player, right? But I think from a class perspective, Partey is one of our best midfielders at the club. So I'm not really willing to let him go immediately in January. I think he has his own struggle with an ongoing muscle issue. But if you look at his record at Atletico Madrid, he was very available for a lot of games. Maybe the intensity in La Liga is a little bit different from like the EPL. But I'm saying, like, as an Arsenal fan, I love Thomas to death. I think he's still one of our best midfielders. I know we are carried away by the new shiny toy in Declan Rice, but I'll tell you, as a real Arsenal fan, I believe Partey is the #1 starting 6 at our club. So I'm willing to give him time, because the good thing is we have a big, decent enough squad to be able to cover that. We can't feel his absence like we did last season when we didn't have like adequate cover. So for me personally, I think Partey deserves all that time. We need to be patient with him, because he's a class player. right? On the striking front, I think we are doing really well, right? Like, the good thing I've always loved about Arsenal is we've always had our goals distributed, especially to our midfielders. So the burden doesn't really rely on who's firing at the front, right? But I want Gabriel Jesus to hit 15 plus goals. It puts us in a good position. And Nketiah is class. I still think, like, when you look at the strikers in the market, I really don't think I can rate anyone above Nketiah. Like, I'm looking at Manchester signed Holland for what? Almost 75M, right? I'm looking at ability-wise, production-wise. You can't really, people just hate on Nketiah, right? You can't really compare that. So I'm thinking with Havertz, I'm hoping he picks his form, because he's very good at getting into the right positions, but he's not converting those chances. But I have a hunch, it's just a matter of time. Like, Havertz will get there, and once he starts firing, he's not going to stop. So the good thing is our strikers are firing, our midfielders are firing. So for any title-winning team or any team that puts on a decent run, you really have to have more goals distributed around the squad, which I think we are doing pretty well. So I'm not really concerned about who do we really sign for an overpriced figure in January, because you look at all the strikers in the market right now, who do you really handpick that comes into Arsenal plugs and play? Not so many. Like, some of the better young strikers like Akina Bolagun and something like that, we had to offload that, right? Because it shows you the standards at Arsenal are so high right now. We're not so worried about one man shouldering that burden of like scoring for the team, which places us at a very, very good advantage. So I think that's good.
Now linked to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because many Arsenal fans believe Ivan Toney is the player to lead Arsenal to maybe the title. And if they still be in the Champions League, they'll give them a proper chance to moving forward, maybe going higher, maybe up to the finals or semi-finals. I don't know. What do you think about Ivan Toney?
I think Ivan Toney has been very, very decent for Brentford, right? I think if you look at his record, and I'm trying to really compare his record to Nketiah, I don't see a stark difference in terms of, like, do we really upgrade in this position, right? So I know it's a bad market for strikers. There's not a lot of good number 9s like we're used to in like previous transfer windows and all that. But I'm thinking if Arsenal, of course, if we onboarded Ivan Toney at this point, it takes us to a new level. But does it really alter? Like, is it the main investment I would make? I'm really not sure, because I'm thinking like the way we play, if all our players are firing and all our players are available, there's very few players who can come in and like immediately take a position. Like, for instance, like I know with Jesus, one of the things we face is he's not been like super convincing for us in terms of like how many goals can he put in the back of the net. But you're looking at his general output, the way we play. Does Ivan Toney have that, you know? So Ivan Toney could end up being the striker who we sign for an alternative strategy mid-game, right? But I feel like it's not a priority for me. I would say like it's not really a priority. I would go for maybe a right winger for Saka. Like I was saying, like if we were focusing, like just someone who covers, because Saka covers has played so many games. He's so young, and eventually that will catch up with him, right? Yeah. So getting a quality player for that position is what my priority would be. Yeah.
Well, those are a very good way to look at it as an Arsenal fan. But you mentioned something about Partey, and I wanted to ask something about Thomas Partey as well. You said his class, which I totally agree, because whenever Partey has played at Arsenal, he's produced master classes.
Yeah.
But what do you think is the reason why he's struggling with his fitness, or why do you think he's not playing even sometimes when he's available to play?
Intensity. I'll tell you the amount, if you look at stats outright, like the amount of kilometers that these athletes cover in the EPL, it's insane. You know, like someone like Declan Rice is averaging what, 10 kilometers, 13 kilometers per game. You know, that shows you an insane amount of fitness. So for Partey to be able to get to that level,
he needs that kind of fitness.
He needs that kind of fitness, which I feel for him he has a disadvantage because the age is catching up with him.
So how old do you think he is?
45.
Did you just say 45?
He could easily be, right? He's an African.
Well,
but
You
But
need to be
I
flex.
think I think when you play so much, like these are, you have to think about athletes and how many games they play within their career, right? Like he played over 200 games, 250 games for Atletico Madrid, but the intensity in La Liga, in terms of running, in terms of like off the ball work, is not the same as the
Speaking
EPL.
Of,
you
speaking
know?
of the intensity, because I see Partey just got injured last year when Arsenal were on the verge of taking on Manchester City, just few minutes during warm-up. And also last match, I think against Chelsea,
yeah.
was on the bench. He never played. And, Partey is the type of a player he could even get injured while sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of his age, of course. Well, I totally understand you're a true Arsenal fan, because the way you've been able like to discuss how you need a replacement for Saka because he's just doing too much for the team, and your striking is good because most of the time you score more than 3 goals, especially in easy games, and it comes easy. So there is another department in your club right now which looks like there is a dilemma, and I'm talking about Raya versus Ramsdale. What do you think about this situation so far?
I'm a loyal man. I am thinking when you compare like for like, right? Like there might be some favorism with Raya being Spanish and the coach being Spanish.
Yes.
You know, like I think there might be like that, and also like Arteta just trying to be a boss, like trying to push the next keeper to perform better. But in terms of ability, I don't think Raya is any different from Ramsdale. Like to be honest, like I'm not sure he's like a good passer better than Ramsdale, because Ramsdale has really shown us he can pass as well, right? Like I've looked at the last 3 games, and I'm thinking Arteta has just stuck with Raya because he needs to prove the point that hey, I'm trying to bring a new competition here. But if Ramsdale had done what Raya had done over the last 3 games, he gets dropped, right? But I think it's a matter of time until Ramsdale gets back into the squad. Ramsdale is still our undisputed number 1.
In short, we say it's a matter of games before Raya is exposed.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So
absolutely.
Before we go to the preview, there's this last question. In the previous episodes that we've done with Vincent, I asked him one of the players from Serie A, of course we have great wingers over there, who would come to the Premier League. And it was between Rafael Leao, Federico Chiesa, and Vicha Kvaratskhelia. I don't know if I got that right, but yes, it's Vicha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you would replace Saka in your team right now. Okay, like you would have someone who's coming in for him or something of the sort. If you had a chance to sign one of these 3 players, Federico Chiesa, Rafael Leao, and Vicha Kvaratskhelia, who would you sign for Arsenal to be in the position to come from the bench to help Saka or help you in other cup games and other games?
I'd go easily for Chiesa. I think, like, first of all, he's really technically good, right? Like one of my favorite bits about Saka as a player, which he beats so many of the right wingers in the league compared to Akina Anthony and the rest. He's very good on both his feet. Right, like with a lot of like left-footed players, it's so easy to mark them, isolate them from the game just by pushing them to their weak foot. Right, with Saka you cannot do that because he can easily twist you any side. He can finish on any side. He can cross on any side, which makes him very dangerous. And I think when it comes to profile, Chiesa is the one who's closest to that. Like he can be pound for pound, almost a similar player with the same work rate, even defensively, because Saka puts a lot of work defensively as well. So I'd go for Chiesa.
Yeah. One player for Arsenal, if we lose that player right now, all the hopes for the league and maybe other tournaments are over. Who is that?
The undisputed position right now that doesn't have a solid deputy that you can say, I'll remove this guy and put this guy. For me, it's Saliba. I think, like, from a defensive point of view, he's like a level above everyone else in the team. Like, of course, he's
the Premier League.
Yeah, even in the team, not just the Premier League, even in Europe, right? Like, you're looking at Real Madrid, he makes the squad easily. Like, he starts like by his quality, his demeanor, his presence on the pitch. We talk about like leadership on the pitch. Everyone is talking about Declan Rice. Everyone is talking about Odegaard as leaders. Saka now because he captained us last week. But there is a real leader there in Saliba who is actually leading from the back. composed and everything. Yeah.
You know, we keep going because we like listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that leads to the question: is he the reason why you might have missed the league last season?
Absolutely. He knows it himself. He said it. He knows. And I like players like that who, like, you believe in your ability so much. Because it transpires on the pitch. He believes he's better than most of the strikers he's facing. So that for me makes me, as a fan, vouch for him, believe in him. Anytime I see, I know absolutely, like, if Ben White starts at right centre back, I'll be confident you're winning the game because Ben White is equally as good. But there's just that small level where Saliba is above everyone else in the team. Gabriel is proper good. But I think, like, if you put Kiwior,
And
it doesn't like really shake the team. But with Saliba, that's like a very tricky one. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Timber is back.
Yeah.
Timber is awesome. A very good player.
Yeah.
Who do you bench?
I bench Zinchenko.
Awesome. Now we
Right.
go straight to the review, and of course, early kickoff. We see Fulham hosting Manchester United.
On
It is
Saturday.
early kickoff, and we always say Ogopa.
Early kickoff.
Yes. No, I want to know. Manchester United, of course, lost to Manchester City. Not a shocker. We expected a loss for United, especially coming up. Arguably the best team in the Europe, like in the world, actually, Manchester City. I doubt if there is another team with proper squad and winning like Manchester City. That's okay. Can United bounce back? Can they get back to winning ways on Saturday?
You know, like, the thing is, like, I've been trying to talk about Manchester United every time we come here. I've been trying to, like, if Ten Hag was listening to me, probably there would have been maybe some difference, because I tend to talk a lot about Manchester United. And flashbacking on the derby, before we talk about the Fulham game, well, it was just very much poor performance, as you could see. Like, everyone was timid. Everyone was just, like, playing the way they would play. Like, you would play in another team right here without caring what is it. And you know, as fans right out here, we suffering from those kinds of performances, because a team that makes 50 plus passes in a game and they score a goal from those passes, and you are at home, I mean, that is very poor performance. So in the Fulham game, I expect a bounce back, because we had a very bad performance against Manchester City. Those are not our standards. Everyone knows we are poor right now. But again, these are the games where we can bounce back. I will give credits, because in the first half, we looked like we can play some football. We looked like we could even play. First half looked like our best performance this season. And although we went down 1 goal through a penalty, in the Fulham game, if we play the way we played against Manchester City in the first half, I'm pretty sure we're gonna win this game. And that's why, because we have our future game, I'm gonna predict this game 2-1 for Manchester United. Maybe our friend Sam can say something about what he thinks about this game.
I'm a hater, first of all, for Man U, but I'll tell you, like, my assessment so far with the last 9 games played. Technically, I don't think Manchester are any good. Like, from a very technical footballing point of view. Of course, there was glimpses in that game against Man City, but I'm not looking at the big games, because with the big games, it's always very unpredictable. You can get hit on the transitions, which Man U is very good at. You know, they've shown that against Arsenal, like, they can easily win on the transition. But my biggest worry is against the teams that sit back and want you to create and open them up, and which is something Manchester doesn't have. Like, I think their midfielders, watching Amrabat in that game, he's actually one of the best players in that game, because after he was brought out, you could tell there was a hole in there. But I'm looking just technically, Man U are not convincing, right? Like, they don't trust even their forwards. The midfielders don't trust the forwards with the ball, you know? The midfielders don't trust themselves with the ball.
You mean every match right now is hard for Manchester United?
It's going to be very, very hard, especially the small games. Do you know why? Because the small teams will sit back.
Or you mean United meet their level?
Not, I don't even say level. It's like there are there's a very huge difference and rift in class between Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. the quality of their team, the quality of their midfield,
Compared to the likes of Wolves.
compared to even like the small teams, even the Brightons, like you could tell how Man U struggled against Brighton, right? Because that midfield is not as technically sound as that. Like I was looking at count the number of like progressive passes or consequent passes that you can. Arsenal will play 20, 25 passes, 40 passes per play. It's very hard for Manchester to put 10 passes. You know,
not 10.
which
You realize Onana has more passes than Bruno Fernandes.
which now brings me to my point, right? When you compare now technically, if your midfielders don't trust your strikers, and your strikers are afraid to take more initiative with the ball, what happened? Everyone is passing to Onana.
It's like
Now everyone is making Onana look like he's
greatest passer
Paul
of all
Scholes, like he's a deep lying midfielder who's stringing long balls here and there.
So
within between the goal.
so without going maybe too much deep into this game, because we have our feature game coming.
Yeah.
You know you have a lot for us in that game. What would you predict for Fulham versus Man United?
I'll say a draw.
A draw.
I think like it's easy to underrate Fulham because everyone thinking like with Mitrovic out, they're not doing well. But they brought in Raul Jimenez, right? So they have a proper proven goal striking striker in the team. He's been at Wolves, we know his record, and we know he's a proper striker even in the big games, right? So for that reason, I'm thinking they might not pull a shocker on Man U, but that might be a very tight draw because I've looked at Man U, especially in the small teams. The game against Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, it was very close. They won 1-0, but it was a very tight game. Sheffield could have, 2-1. Yes. Sheffield could have gone with the game, right?
So going by the numbers, 0-0, 1-1, 4-4, 7-7,
2-2.
2-2 draw.
Yeah.
He has my prediction.
So we move to the next game.
We just move to the next game. Manchester City are the defending champions, of course. They're still winning without KDB. Will it continue against FC Bournemouth?
Manchester City have proven a point. They came to Old Trafford. They took the whole 3 points with 3 goals to nothing, and they mean business. They want to go back to the top. They are top team. They know how to bounce back after defeats. And Bournemouth are the games where Manchester City like, these are the games, especially at home.
Yeah.
Manchester City will do everything to make sure they put more than 3 goals past Bournemouth. And that's why I'm thinking in this game, they might keep a clean sheet on this one. I've been predicting most of the games for Man City to concede, but I'm going for a 3-0 win against Bournemouth. How about you, Sam?
I'm going to go for a 4-0 win.
A 4-0
Yeah, a 4-0 win. They'll score at least 4 goals.
Do you think Haaland or Alvarez, or who do you think will come on the score sheet this time?
I think Haaland is hitting his vein of form right at the right time, so he might come up with a goal and an assist. I'm also thinking Alvarez has done a perfect job in like making us not really think about De Bruyne, KDB's absence, which is really good, right? Because KDB always plays like behind the striker, so having now a striker who's playing behind another striker gets Man City into like a mob for 2. So Alvarez is always going to be productive in those situations.
Right. Yeah. How about Vincent?
A brace for Alvarez and a hat-trick for Haaland.
5 goals.
5 goals to 0 against Bournemouth. That's a legit clean sheet. Trust you, Bournemouth is not the right time to meet Man City.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, to the next game, I think. Which game is it?
Arsenal. We have Arsenal taking on Newcastle away. The Magpies. And I feel this is one of the toughest matches for Arsenal. So I want to start with you, Arsenal. Of course. I want to know, do you think Arsenal, a good run in the Premier League, will come to an end this weekend or not?
Funny thing, I'm always confident of away games more than I am of home games lately, because I think there's a mentality we are playing with away. There's a structure we are playing with away, which is really good, right? Like if you look at our last few games, we've kept more clean sheets away than we've kept at home, right?
This season, I think it's considered only 2 goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like even if you check our record last season, we did really well on the away grounds, right? So for that, I feel I'm very confident because our players are very, very confident in themselves. So we might nick a 1-0 or a 2-0 win. I'm predicting an absolute clean sheet. Like I think we're gonna keep a clean sheet in this game because Newcastle are gonna come at us. Yeah, they're the top. We are joint top scorers in the league, so they're gonna attack us. Which will create spaces for us. I know St. James's Park is a hard ground to go to, but not really for Arsenal, right? Like historically, we've always done proper at St. James's Park. So I'm thinking like even if it's an away game, everyone is like, oh, Newcastle are doing well, but not for Arsenal. I feel like we'll do well in that game.
A proper Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Full of confidence. Remy, what do you have?
Contrary to Sam's prediction, I have something different.
Yep.
Arsenal fans, if you are not careful this weekend, this is the first time this season you are testing defeats. 2-1 Newcastle. No, nothing else.
How many times have you tested the defeat for United?
We are talking about Arsenal.
Yeah, I think this is not the right time to say Arsenal will keep another clean sheet. They played well against Sheffield United and also poor performance against Chelsea. Although in the Champions League they played well. So I think Arsenal will concede, but they'll win this match.
Yep.
2-1. I'm going for a 2-1 victory for the Gunners.
So you're just doing this to my prediction.
Yes. Before we go to Liverpool against Luton, I want to talk about a team which most of people think
Yeah.
they're gonna fight for the top 4.
Yep.
They're gonna displace one of the top teams among the top 4, and this is Aston Villa. They'll be away to a team which lost to Liverpool, Nottingham Forest. I wanna hear you check about that.
So that's Aston Villa.
Yes.
Playing
Nottingham
Forest. Yeah. I think I asked you today if you would take Unai or the Zabi ball. You picked the Zabi ball over Unai ball, but I have a different opinion. Right now, the way things are going on at Old Trafford, if I were to pick one of the managers who is managing in the Premier League right now to take over Manchester United, it will be Unai Emery.
Point of correction. Problem the manager is on the coaching.
I know.
The entire team.
Listen. Yeah, I'm saying something. If yeah. So I like how Unai has structured that team. You remember Steve Gerrard really struggled with Aston Villa with very many stars, including Felipe Coutinho and whoever. Yeah. But Unai has come into this team, and all of a sudden they have 16 or 13 games in a row wins at home, and that's why I'm thinking they'll give Nottingham a run for their money for this game. And I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win Aston Villa. How about you? Because I think
I think I'm also gonna go for an Aston Villa win, but I think they'll win at least 3-0. Because the good thing with the Unai Emery, he works on momentum, right? Like we remember at Arsenal when he put up a couple of wins, like I think 12 unbeaten games and all that, but he came crashing down. I still think Unai is a cup manager.
Yep, not a league manager.
Not really a league manager. Like when it goes to the when it goes to the wire, I don't think he survives it, right? But I think with Aston Villa, even your prediction, I think they will win this game. But I don't see them making top 4. I see them being in the Europa League places, which, because quality-wise, they're very good. They've signed some really nice players. They actually have a proper system of play. So for that, I think they might do the Europa League positions. Yeah, but I think I'm gonna go for like a 2-0 win.
They'll replace United in the Europa.
Absolutely. So I feel like United won't make the top 8.
So before Vincent gives his prediction,
doesn't like game. When you talk about Man United, I just remembered something.
Cuts you short.
After Ferguson left, how many coaches? Can you count?
We have a number of them.
One.
It doesn't matter. We have
Moyes, OGS,
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Van Gaal, Mourinho, OGS,
Rangnick.
Rangnick was not
interim.
He was just an interim manager.
Yeah, and then
those 5 coaches at home, they've lost 34 matches at Old Trafford.
That's crazy.
And Alex Ferguson only lost 34.
So look, let's leave Manchester United aside on this one. Thank you for that statistic, Vincent, though. Sam, Unai ball, De Zerbi ball.
De Zerbi. I think tactically, De Zerbi plays very well, right? Like his build-up is so clear. Like anytime you watch De Zerbi ball, you know what's gonna happen.
How many
those 4 boxes, like just the structure of how he plays. He's the closest to Arteta, Guardiola in terms of how. Even Eddie Howe, like, because I think Eddie Howe is very underrated in terms of like his style of play, right?
Exactly.
I think they are up there in terms of the new managers bringing in a new flow or a new structure of how football is played. So with De Zerbi, I think like I rank him very highly.
Wow.
If Manu was like a serious team, you invest in a coach like that who knows how I want my team to play, because that's one thing I think Ten Hag doesn't, right? Like you heard in his last interview, he's saying I don't want to play like Ajax or the players I have. It's the manager's job to lay out that structure to whoever is in there. So if a coach at that level is telling you, I can't work with the players I signed,
then that's a problem.
Then you have a big problem.
We were on Nottingham versus Aston Villa, and Vincent, do you have any predictions for this game as well?
You don't need to underrate Nottingham Forest with
Yeah.
the attack. So I'm not giving Aston Villa
A straight
clean
win.
sheet.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's a win for them, so I'll go for a 3-1 win.
A 3-1 win.
Okay.
Yes. Then on Sunday we have Liverpool away to Luton.
Luton Town.
I'm sure Luton, they can say we came too early. What do you think about that match?
Liverpool will annihilate them. Like, I think the one thing I love about Liverpool and Man City, they don't joke around with small teams.
Yes.
You know, they'll blow you out of the water. They don't care. Like, that's how big teams play, you know.
And that's how you get goal difference.
And if you're playing Luton, that's your biggest advantage on taking a guaranteed 3 points and adding, as you said, adding to your goal difference. So I think Liverpool will blow them out of the water.
Well, in my predictions, I said Liverpool will win 3-0, and Sam looks like he's saying they will surpass that. But well, I still stick with 3-0 Liverpool. Without Luton still has more to.
Yeah, at least 4 goals.
More Salah.
Yeah,
4.
yeah, at least
Yes,
4
I'll
goals.
give Liverpool 4-0.
Yeah.
Well,
Future
we wait and
match,
see.
Monday night football. I almost said football. Monday night football see Chelsea up against Tottenham, a team which is still unbeaten in the Premier League so far, alongside Arsenal. So I want to know, before now you predict that match, be very quick.
Yeah.
Talk about Tottenham.
Okay.
Is it the time for Tottenham maybe to lift the league?
I'm gonna be biased and be an Arsenal fan. I don't think like there's anything that about Tottenham that ever scares me. So I think they're having. It's the start of the season. It's the start of the season. Like you put up a few wins in a row, you go into this momentum of winning, which is good. But I don't think Spurs can maintain that momentum. I'm thinking by the time we're getting to December, we can now see. Because also like the thing with this league, right? Like before a manager is figured out, it takes a few games.
Yep.
Angel is just a new manager in the league. Nobody has figured out how he thinks, his tactics, his switches. Nobody has thought that far right now. But I'll tell you, like by the time we're turning into December, you'll see a very different Spurs because now teams will have figured out this is how you play, this is how you approach your games.
You counter them.
And you counter them. So it's going to be very, very tough for Spurs. So the best luck they have right now is to put up a string of more wins, which I don't think they will. Which I don't think they will. Because most of their games in the last 10 games has been against the smaller teams. Like, of course, they've played Man U and they've played Arsenal, but you look and Liverpool, which is pretty decent, right? But you look at the other games, they played like bottom half of the table, right? So I'm thinking when they come to now facing the Aston Villas, the Newcastles, when now everyone is now, like right now going into the 10 games, legs are fresh.
Yep.
Yeah, that hangover of preseason is over. Like now everyone is gunning for points. So for Spurs, I do believe they'll beat Chelsea. Because Chelsea has not been convincing at all, right? Like they have an expensive squad, but I'm still looking at quality-wise. They have good signings here and there, but is it gelling? Is it? No. Pochettino, like, what's your style of play? He's trying to replicate a style he's not used to, especially at Chelsea. So I'm really worried about that. So I'm thinking Spurs beat Chelsea at least 2-1. Yeah, because I'm confident Chelsea doesn't win that game.
Yeah, I actually. Did you have a question before? Maybe I go.
Not actually a question because I needed to go. Before now, you make the prediction and also do. Do you have maybe statistics for that match? Do you have team news, something like that?
Yeah.
To head the last five matches for both teams.
Tottenham, I think we have almost everyone fit and no suspensions at all because Bissouma came back from his suspension.
Yeah,
he's now fit to play. For Chelsea, we have a few concerns. Nkunku is back to training, but he's not fit.
The match comes too early.
Match comes too early for him. We have James, who was a substitute against Arsenal, and he might feature again, or he might start in that match.
Yeah.
And then Chilwell is still out. And then who else do we have for Chelsea? I think those three are the key ones who we can talk about. But the rest of the squad, Gusto, I just came to learn these Chelsea players.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
Gusto,
The likes of Disasi.
Thiago Silva, their goalkeeper who made an error.
Twice, by the
Sterling,
way. 2 consecutive errors against Arsenal.
and then against
Brentford.
Yeah. And then we have Sterling on the right or on the left, depending on where the manager wants to play him. I think those are the team news for now. We don't have any mega than that. Maybe now we look at the team's form, and you will see that Tottenham at home have won all their matches, and they have scored at least 2 goals in those matches in the Premier League. We're talking about the Premier League.
All right.
For Chelsea, they've done well in their 4 matches they've played away from home. They drew against Bournemouth, they lost 2-1, and then they won against Fulham, and then they won against Bournemouth 4-1. Then they won 2-0 against Fulham. So it shows you that Chelsea away from home, they're able to grab these goals. And this is a form that maybe we can base on as we try maybe to predict this match as well. So that is the form. Head-to-head, if we look at head-to-head.
Last season.
Yeah, not even just last season. In the last 5 Premier League games, Tottenham have only won 1.
Last season they didn't lose a match to Chelsea, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they drew 1.
They drew.
And then
they beat the other one.
Yes,
So,
yes. But in the last 5, they lost all of them to Chelsea. Yeah. So it gives you like an overview of how this is going to be. But of course, you can't just look at head-to-head because there's been a change at Chelsea, of course. We have Pochettino right now.
Yeah.
He's a new manager, and he's trying a lot of stuff right now. He's experimenting stuff because he has a huge squad to try and see what he can do with it at the moment. So to the predictions or where this game can be won, I still feel if Pochettino is able to start the squad that started against Chelsea, not against Arsenal, they will do better because he changed that squad when in the next game,
Brentford.
and all of a sudden things change. So I think if he starts those players that played against Arsenal, if they play well against Tottenham, the way they did against Arsenal in the first half, they have a chance. But then again, it's Chelsea. They crumbled down. Against Arsenal, they did. Against Brentford, when they needed to score, they made errors. It's a team of errors. And that's why for this game, I will stick to the prediction that they might score, but Spurs will still run away with this. And Spurs to win this game 2-1.
Right. Let me tell you one thing. Chelsea are scoring. Apart from the Brentford match, when you look at what Madueke did hitting the posts, and they had the chances, but they didn't take them.
Yes.
So now Pochettino knows, as a coach, you always know, why are we losing? Why are we dropping points? We need to change this and this. I feel this match Chelsea will not lose it, but they'll not win.
So,
I'm going for a 2-2 draw.
as an Arsenal fan, what do you expect? Well,
I'm going for a 2-2 draw because Chelsea can score, Tottenham can score. Then again, this way it will be won. It's a fight between Bissouma and Caicedo. And also, when you look at what Son is doing in Maddison, and also Raheem Sterling is a good player going forward. They just need an experienced striker. But when it comes to derby, I always respect derby. A derby is a derby.
Very unpredictable.
Yes, very unpredictable. And that's why I'm saying there is a possibility of getting a 2-2 draw. Yes.
Well, that is our feature match. And our fans back at home, they have a bigger scope, or they have bigger opinions, better than we have here. And they can let us know their predictions in the comment section. And as well, we're going to post this match on our socials, and we will find out who is able to get the correct score. You saw those goodies that we had in the bet slip section. Yeah, we have so many t-shirts, we have so many caps, and we have a lot of goodies, bottles for you. And if you get that correct score right, you're going to be walking away with goodies. So that is it. Unless you have any other thing, Vincent or Sam, do you have any words for Arsenal fans?
Yes. Put all your money on Arsenal over 2.5 and bet on Bet Power, guys.
Well, that is it. We've come to the end. Thanks, Sam, for turning up today. It's been Pleasure
Nice.
having you, and
Yes.
we're gonna be
We want to see
looking
you again.
forward
Absolutely.
to seeing
Yes.
you again
You
in
come
here.
with Manchester United fan this time round.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at
Absolutely.
least they never get anything against us.
Yeah.
So at least with that we can have 2-2 draw.
Absolutely. Yeah, we keep it balanced.
Well, that's Vincent talking. He always talks shit when it comes to Manchester United, but we accept. So we've come to the end of our Premier League preview episode. My name is Brian.
My name is Samuel.
And-
Die Hard Arsenal.
And they call me Vincent.
And this is the Liquid
Sports Show.
See you.